Hey, this is Ryan with Stemcounter.com, and I'm just shooting a quick video here to show you the benefits and the ways that the studio level of the software will make a huge difference in your business. We had so many florists who love the product we were creating for proposals that we had people saying, well, hey, we're having to use 2 or 3 softwares. We'd love it if we had everything that we have in our proposals, but also just tools to be able to make our company as a whole run smoother. So that's where we created the studio version of the software from. So let me just jump right in. The big difference between the startup level of the software and the studio level is the startup level looks really at individual events, whereas the studio level looks at your company as a whole. So caring about a wide variety of things that we're going to go over. So I'm just going to jump into the software here and show you the basics of what it goes into the studio level and how you can be able to utilize it to the best of your abilities. So I'm going to jump actually first into one of the most cool parts is our forms tool. So this is a studio level feature where you're able to create individual forms that you can send out to clients. So before we look at the submissions, let's just look at the forms here. So we've got this check my date form here, and basically this opens up into a link that your clients can fill out. We even have a lot of our companies who make this link for their internal company to be able to fill out. And so what we have here is this page with all the questions that we're needing to find out about this particular client. So for our shop, we always like to ask the question before someone gets into the consultation, what kind of things are you looking for in an event? And you have all of this built out here so that whenever we get into the consultation, we're able to just sell them on the vision as opposed to just the try to get information from them during the consult. So that's the big thing right here. We have all of these questions figured out. You have different types of questions you can ask. You've got just fill in the blanks. You have questions that are check boxes. You can have multiple check boxes. You have a wide variety of different options you can put in here. The great part about this tool as well is this automatically syncs with your events. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that once we jump into an individual event and show you how that affects it. But over here, there's 2 types of properties. There's a customer property and there's a job property. The customer property, these are things that stay with the customer. If you have a description of what the customer looks like, if you have a name, if you have an address, information that is solely about that customer and doesn't change whether they're having a wedding or a corporate event or whether they're having a baby shower. Whereas the job, that would change. These are questions that how many bridesmaids do you have? We might have this in a Twisted Willow Design questionnaire, but we might not have the how many bridesmaids do you have in, say, a questionnaire that was asked about their baby shower, because that's not going to be something that's going to be applicable. So that's the big difference between the 2 different items here. The cool ones are the ones where, if you can see on here, like let's look at the job property, we have this date with the star by it. That one is something that automatically comes built in. So this is the property you want to add. So let's just really quickly add a new form here. I'm going to call this stem counter testing form. And right here we can go in and say we're going to add the date here because that's an important piece of this particular form that we're going to be adding. We want this date to flow through so we can immediately know what they're looking at, and we want it to connect with our events. And then we can also go in and let's say that we want to add an email address. And then let's create a new property. So I'm going to click add a new property. You have a few different options here. This date property, pretty much what it sounds like. Single line text, that means it's just a short answer. Multiple line means, hey, I want a little bit more of your feedback. Single checkbox means that's a yes or no question. Either you have this or you don't. Multiple checkbox, that's saying, okay, you might have 2 or 3 different pieces you want to implement, or maybe you want to choose between having alter arrangement or chuppah, or maybe both. So that would be a great option there. Number means basically just a single number. So if you're talking about a budget or something like that. And the radio select, I'm going to select that one. This is an either or question here. So we can say, this needs to be a job type because it's not about the customer that we're going to ask. And then say, do you want, let's just make it a McDonald's question. What side do you want with that? Hopefully my wife won't get aggravated about me answering this question in here. And so we'll say fries, apples, or none. And so, as this says, it's a job property, so if your customer comes back for a second job, this info can be added again on that new job. So I'm going to click Save right here, and that's going to add that property over here to our job properties. And so we can go down, what side do you want with that? Just click on that, and that's going to add this here. So we're good. And this confirmation message right here, this basically allows you to confirm this. And let's say that we want this email to go first. We're just going to pop that up, and now the email's up top. So we're going to save this form. And we're going to click this right here link, and it's going to open up a new tab. And so you can take the URL that this has up here, and you can be able to paste that URL over into whatever link that you would have on your website. But immediately we have this form, and we have this ability to connect up these specific answers with this. And so if you have a new customer here, it'll actually create a new item here for them. So I'm going to click the send button, and my wife's going to wonder what in the world's coming through here. But it says, thank you, your form was sent. You get an email letting you know, hey, you have a new submission. And then over here in the submission section, you can see that we have a new submission in here. So I'm going to refresh this. There we go. And we can see this little icon here saying, hey, you got a new submission. So that's pretty important in terms of having a new submission. You can add any notes that you want on it. You can click on the submission to sort of see all the different specifics of what exactly that they're wanting. And then if you don't want a particular event, like down here, you can actually archive it by clicking on this particular checkbox right here. So that's a big time saver. You can use multiple checkboxes, but this is a great way before someone has been vetted for you to be able to keep up with all of the inquiries that you have coming in. And so you can say called twice, call once more, then archive. So let's actually jump though over to our events to show you how this plays through here. So in the events section, we're going to go and let's just take this template, this ceremony and reception. We're going to click this little duplicate icon, and we're going to click create from submission. So I'm going to create this from the Stemcounter testing form. And what we see is it automatically loads this customer. Now notice I didn't put Ryan O'Neill, I didn't put my name on that particular form. It automatically detected that was the customer based on my email address. And then it has the date here, and we're going to say this is the testing event. And then we're going to click save right here. And we'll talk about tags in a later proposal discussion. But let's get down here to this testing event. And inside of this event, we're going to see a couple things, and I'm just going to actually segue from this. I'm going to finish up talking about the properties and everything, and I'm going to segue away from it. But so inside of this event, we can be able to see it's automatically loaded the date that we selected, and then we can even see the event properties right here. And these are pretty much all of your properties, but these are listed out for this particular event. So you can sort of scroll down and see, we don't have a wedding date. Well, why not? Because this is a custom property for Twisted Willow. Whereas down here, do you want fries with that? We do have it marked as wanting fries. And so in this case, we can say side preferred. And we can actually come down here, and this is a really cool tool because we can come down and we can use our tokens and type in the name side. What side do you want with that? So now when our client gets this, they're able to click on this working toggle to see what it's going to look like, and it's going to automatically fill in their information. Now, a lot of you probably have already caught on to this, but this is super exciting because when you're dealing with a contract down here and you're wanting to put particular verbiage and automatically load names, you can use these tokens to be able to automatically load the name and information about this client or about this job, and it automatically does that legwork for you. So that tokens tool is a really cool and powerful tool, as well as the event properties. And segueing on top of that, I'm going to jump back here to our events dashboard, and then I'm going to go to my account right here. And actually, I'm going to go to my profile. I apologize, went to the wrong place. We're going to go to profile right here. And then we're going to go into the email templates. And this email template section, if you are a startup user, you get one email template. If you're a studio user, you get as many email templates as you want. So you can be able to add multiple templates. Here's your proposal. You can be able to add tokens in here and say, hey, and then insert the first name. And then Another really cool tool is right here. We're going to go into this particular bouquet, and let's say we're going to charge, $150 for this bouquet, and we have just a listing of items in here. I'm just going to say it's an all hydrangea bouquet. Super creative, right? So we're just going to say 6 hydrangeas in here. Um, and we see the cost, we see the total. Another great tool though is right over here in the event breakdown tool. This event breakdown tool gives you an analysis of this particular event to see how much profit did you make. So it says it cost us 63 bucks. That was mainly those hydrangeas. We have $18.40 in estimated labor based on our pricing projections. That means we should have a profit of $335. So it's a very quick way to be able to get an analysis on this particular event and for you to find out the granular details. So that's available in the studio level of the software. So let's keep jumping in though, and let's jump over to our Studio tab. Now the Studio tab is where most of your Studio features reside. And so inside this tab you have several options. Number one, you can choose your branding identity color. And this is a really cool tool from the perspective of everything from the client facing. So when your client sees any links in here, let me just jump back to an event. When they say any links, when they see the email that's sent to them, all of that's going to be customized to match your prominent color of your brand. You can also white label your account. White labeling your account basically changes all the colors within the event here to be able to be your colors, as well as the logo over here. Now we like to leave that off on ours, but in this integrations is the next step, and this is probably one of the biggest things that leads people to us, because we have a couple great integrations. We have the Google Calendar integration. The Google Calendar integration essentially allows you to be able to keep up with all the different events. Anytime an event is booked, it automatically goes over to your Google Calendar. Anytime that you want and you see your payment breakdown, let's go look at this event, you have the option in your payment section to send this payment over there. So that's another really strong tool that allows you to keep up with it when payments are due. The other cool thing is your QuickBooks Online account. So I'm going to actually merge this conversation with a little bit of reports. But basically your QuickBooks Online allows you to connect up so that all of these invoices and payments can be pulled over to QuickBooks. So I'm going to click on this reports here and show you how that works. Let's just look at November here, and we see that we have in November we have these particular events. We could sync these to QuickBooks just by clicking this little sync button right here. That automatically syncs all those details. And if we get additional details we're needing, we can actually resync over there as well. So let's say that we have multiple levels of this proposal, we can keep resyncing. It is a manual process from the perspective of it's something that you are making the choice that you want to be able to handle this a particular way, as opposed to automatically sending over every time a change is made. It really comes down to you having control over when you want it to go in. And the other cool thing as well about this particular section, this report section, is you have a very quick analysis of all the events and everything that's going on in a particular month. And you can see what the total should be, how much taxes are owed, so it's really powerful. And you can also do the same over here on the payments section. So we can select payments, and then we're going to generate a report right here. These are the payments that we should be getting in November. And so it allows us to know which of these are complete, which of these are not paid. So it's a really comprehensive way to keep up with everything that should be happening. And I'm going to click on this tags tool, and this is a great tool as well. So you see within this tags tool, we have a lot of different options here. I'm just going to delete one of these options, but we see we have corporate, paid in full. Some people use this to say, hey, this is going to be Ashley's tag. So if Ashley's one of our salespeople, then we can be able to keep up with that. But it very quickly and easily allows you to be able to create tags. And where these are very valuable are over inside of your events tab. Let me see if I can get back to the events tab really quick here. Because inside of the events tab, you have the ability to filter through things based on whatever kind of components you want. So in this case, we have a paid in full, we have a follow-up on this particular event. If we want to look at everything we need to follow up with, it'll pull that up. Or if we want to look at everything connected with Ashley, we can click on the Ashley and we don't see anything that's being pulled up. So it's a very quick and very powerful way to handle, especially when you're dealing with a lot of events. And then over here, back over here, one last tool, and we're still building this one out, but we do like to mention is this workflows tool. And this is just going to be something that as we build this out, it's going to get simpler and simpler to be able to automate parts of your business. This is something that we're still building out and we're super excited about, but you do have to be a studio user in order to qualify for this once it comes out. So basic things like saying, hey, when an event is marked as booked, send it to my Google Calendar. And this is happening already. When a form is submitted, send me an email. And right now, anything that we add that's going to happen for everyone that's on Studio, we're going to be able to add this right here. However, as we move forward, we're going to find more and more modular ways to be able to get people into this. And the last one is probably the biggest time saver of all of our Studio features, and that's the ability to merge multiple orders. So we can see right here, we have this option to generate an order here. You can be able to combine multiple orders together on that same weekend by combining them right here within this merge phase. And this basically saves a whole lot of time when you're trying to handle multiple events at one time, as opposed to focusing on an individual event each weekend. So I hope this has helped. It's been cool being able to show you through this. If you're interested in working with Studio, the features we've showed you today are more than enough to be able to prove that it's worth the time and the effort to be able to utilize this tool and optimize a lot of the strategies that you're using in your company. It just streamlines everything from the time that a client clicks on Contact Us and they get a form all the way through to when you're merging multiple events together. The Studio tool really makes a huge difference. Thanks again for tagging in, and I hope it's helped.